Hey, what's up guys, it's Lee. Now today I'm doing something a little bit different and I'm going to talk to you guys about 7 things that I wish I knew before starting YouTube. Now, I've actually been on YouTube for about 10 years now. Actually, it doesn't really feel like it, but yeah, it's been 10 years. So I actually had another channel that I grew to about 30,000 subscribers or so, millions of views and things like that. And, after a while, it kind of just fell apart a little bit, because I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. And so now I have this new channel here. But yeah, I've been on YouTube for a really long time. And so I wanted to just talk to you guys, who are thinking about starting a channel, who have just started a channel. I just want to share with you some of the things that I've kind of learned along the way. And hopefully you can take some of these things and maybe apply it to what you guys are doing now, or put it into perspective for, your journey now starting on YouTube, because, it is a long road on YouTube. Now, I definitely don't want this video to come off as like me trying to scare you or it to be anything like that. I definitely just want this video to be, I'm basically just kind of sharing with you my experiences, some of the things that I've realized along the way. And I think that it's just important to know as you're getting into, this thing we know as YouTube, right? So the very first thing that I wish I knew when I started YouTube is that YouTube is hard. Now, when I say YouTube is hard, I don't mean that like, it's just like so hard you shouldn't do it. What I'm saying is that YouTube is something that will challenge you in so many different ways that you've never thought that you would be challenged. It's going to help you grow as an individual, as a creator, as an editor, as someone who is making videos. You're going to grow in so many different ways. And that is part of what makes it challenging. In addition to that, finding success is challenging. Being able to persevere is challenging. Being consistent is challenging. So there are a lot of pieces and facets to being a YouTuber that I think is going to be something that is hard. Just keep that in mind as you're starting your channel. You want to make sure that you are in this for the long haul. This is not something that you're going to just be doing, here and there. If you are starting a YouTube channel, I think that it's important to make sure that you are dedicated, you are going to be doing this for the long haul, and you're not in this for a quick viral video or, a fast payday or something like that, because by and large, that's not how YouTube works. Of course, you can end up having a viral video and that is awesome, right? But to be able to sustain that over the long haul, a lot of those different things that I told you about that will grow you as an individual and creator are the things that are going to have to stand the test of time, basically. And that is all part of what makes YouTube hard, aka challenging. Now, the next thing that I wish I knew before starting YouTube is that ideas are king. Now, it probably seems simple, right? Like, duh, of course you have to have ideas for videos, right? But it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not as easy as it sounds. So when you're starting a YouTube channel, it is really important to have great ideas. Not only just great ideas, but also ideas that stand out, that make you different from other creators on YouTube as well, because there's always going to be someone else that's making videos that are going to be a little bit similar, that are going to be on the same topic or in the same niche. And you want to make sure that your videos are actually standing out. So being able to come up with different ideas, different stories to kind of weave into your videos, different takes on the same topic or niche, making something that is boring, exciting, just keeping things fresh and fun or quirky or whatever it is that makes you, being able to come up with those ideas on a consistent basis is king. It is something that is paramount when it comes down to being successful on YouTube, because you can keep making videos about the same thing, but after a while, people are not going to want to watch that, right? Because who wants to watch videos about the same thing? Not a lot of people. So you have to make sure that you have, ideas, and you can really come up with different ideas in so many different ways. You can brainstorm. Now they have AI, so you can use like ChatGPT to help you to enhance that sort of brainstorming process, right? I wouldn't say rely on ChatGPT, but it can also help to, like I said, enhance that thought process. Make sure that you're connecting with other creators, other people who are creative, right? They can also help you come up with other ideas or give you insight on things. And, I think just watching other videos, watching other creators in the same niche and outside the niche that you have, those things are going to help you to come up with different ideas. And that's one of the things that I feel like I've struggled with throughout the years. I think that a lot of creators struggle with it, is just coming up with ideas on a consistent basis. And sometimes that's the difference between me making a video and not making a video. Is just like, man, I can't come up with a good idea this week, right? What am I going to talk about this week, right? And so that's going to be something that I think is going to be important for you guys as you're starting that journey, or as you continue your YouTube journey. That's something that I found to be very, very important. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, it's going to be something that you're going to be like, of course you're going to talk about this, because this is something that everybody talks about. It comes up at some point in their YouTube journey, right? And that is gear, right? Now, my thing is that gear isn't everything, but it is very important. And especially now more than ever with the cost, or the barrier to entry, right? They have so many different cameras that are out that you can purchase that are high quality, that can help you capture some great visuals, right? There's also, when it comes down to audio, so many different options when it comes down to audio to actually get you started and have good quality audio in your videos. And, one of the things that, I know I hear a lot of people say a lot of times is, oh, gear is, it's not that important, just have a great personality and a good idea and be passionate. And, those things are true, but there is also a limit. And I feel like that limit is going to be met a lot faster nowadays, because now just anybody, Joe Schmo out there who wants to start a YouTube channel, who has just a little bit of money, can go out and buy a phenomenal camera at a low price, but whether it be brand new or used, and have high quality HD video, right? Or 4K if they have a little bit of extra cash. And they can go out and get a nice, something for audio as well, and make some really, high quality videos. And so, sure, you can film on your phone, just like a lot of people say. Go ahead and do that. You can do that if you want, if that's how you want to start, if that's how you need to start making videos, if that's how you justify that purchase, creating that consistency, and then purchasing something extra. If that's what you want to do, you definitely can do that. And there's really nothing wrong with that. So don't feel bad if that is how you're starting. But at some point, you're going to need to invest in gear. That's just the reality of it. You're going to have to invest in gear. It doesn't have to be the most expensive gear, but it does have to be good. And I think that one of the things that I've learned along the way is that you don't have to have necessarily the best visuals, right? Your visuals, it doesn't have to be like the absolute best, but one of the things that does have to be very good is going to be audio, right? Because when you have a video, people can watch a video that doesn't quite look, it doesn't look super, fantastic. It's not the best video they've ever watched, right? But if the audio is janky, they're going to go watch a video that has good audio, right? Because just about every video that you listen to, especially if someone's speaking on it, the audio is pretty good. The audio is very good these days. So if you have a video where the visuals are not the best, but then you have some janky audio, well, people are probably not going to want to sit through that, because it's going to be like nails on a chalkboard to their ears, and they're going to want to, watch something that looks great and also sounds great. Just be mindful that gear, it is important. No matter what, some videos you see out there where they say gear doesn't matter. Gear, it does matter. And there is a limit to how far you can push things before you need to take that extra step. So the next thing that I wish that I knew before starting YouTube is that you have to be passionate about whatever it is that you're talking about. So for instance, for me, when I first started YouTube, honestly, my first few videos blew up, because I was making how to cut your own hair videos. And at the time, years ago, there were no videos. There were not people on the internet that are recording themselves, cutting their own hair. Now you see a lot of barbers, and they are filming, cutting clients' hairs and things like that. And they get lots of views, and it's crazy, right? At the time, because YouTube was so young, there were no videos like that. And, some of my videos got millions of views, and it was crazy. I was at the gym and people were like, hey, are you that guy? It was kind of, it was a little bit crazy to me, because at the time that was a new experience. But when it comes down to passion, it's I definitely enjoyed cutting my own hair. I like cutting my own hair. It was something that I started doing because I got really frustrated with my own barber, and I just figured man, I'm wasting my time, driving to the barbershop. He's late. He has clients in front of him. Some days he would not show up. It would be just an endless, stream of different excuses. And as a guy, I mean, you definitely have to have your hair cut. It's got to be fresh, right? So I got really frustrated and I just figured like I can just figure out how to do this myself. And that is what I did. But back to my topic, that's not something that I was really passionate about. Like I didn't leave. I didn't like breathe and sleep, cutting my own hair. It's not something that like, it just wasn't. I mean, it was just something that I was doing and I shared it with the world on YouTube. And so after a while on that channel, one of the things that I realized is that, that was something that people were looking forward to viewing and looking at. And I just didn't have the passion for it. I just got tired of it. And then also, there's only so many different hairstyles and haircuts you can do. I had a professional job, it just got kind of ridiculous and a little bit stressful also because I'm like, man, what can I make next? And it just wasn't something that, really could stand the test of time. So if you are starting a YouTube channel, just make sure that it's something that you are passionate about or something that you get very excited about or that you are it's something that, it's just something that you're really into essentially, but just have a level of passion for it, have a strong interest in it. Think to yourself, like, is this something that I can continue talking about for years to come, right? If it's not something like that, then just keep that in mind that you have to have that passion. It could be something that could be part of a larger niche, right? Because let's say it's a certain video game or certain video game genre, and that's what you're doing. What if that game's not popular anymore? Then if your whole channel is about that game, well, now your channel is in the toilet, right? So, but maybe it's that genre or that niche that you're passionate about. So as long as there's some passion there, I think you're going to do well. But that's just something that I wish I knew when I got started because, it was just kind of a whim that I just made these videos. And I felt like I had to keep making those type of videos because that's what my audience expected from me, even though it wasn't something that I was crazy about. So if you don't want to find yourself in that kind of situation, then start with a passion in mind. Now, the next thing I think is going to be something that you hear a lot. It's something that people always talk about when it comes down to YouTube. Honestly, when it comes down to social media in general, right? Whether it be Instagram or TikTok or whatever, any place that you want to find success, consistency is key. And I know that I'm like telling you guys about consistency. I'm not always the most consistent person when it comes down to YouTube. I'm working on it, but it's something that is going to be extremely important. If you want to actually grow on YouTube and be successful, you have to be consistent. You have to create a schedule that works well for your life. Some people can crank out videos multiple times a week, right? That can be something that can lead to burnout potentially, but it depends on your lifestyle. Or maybe it's once per week or once every couple weeks, whatever it is, you have to come up with a schedule that you can be consistent with so that your audience over time, they know what to expect. Also, you want to have videos that are coming out at a consistent pace so that YouTube can understand the type of videos that you are making, understand the type of channel that you have, and also in the future, push those people to your channel who are interested in whatever it is that you're talking about. So that's the only way that you can, again, find that long-term success is if YouTube understands and feeds that into the algorithm, which will, again, get you more views in the future. And so that's something that you have to really, really, think about. And if you're at the very beginning of your YouTube journey, this is something that I would say that I wish I definitely wish I knew and had planned for it, is just having that consistent schedule in place. If you can figure out a way to do that at the very beginning, at the start, and even if you started and you're still in the beginning stages of your YouTube channel, come up with a consistent schedule for yourself so that these videos come out like clockwork. That is going to be a big piece when it comes down to your long-term success. In addition to the passion we talked about, right? Because if you have a lot of passion and you're making great videos and that passion comes through, that's awesome. But if you're only making those videos, those passionate videos, like once every 2 months, I mean, obviously we know how that's going to turn out. So definitely consistency is going to be key. Now, the next thing I wish that I knew, and this is something that is, I don't know, I feel like it's interesting because my YouTube journey was a little bit different than some other people's because, some of my initial videos got me on this train where I just started getting an influx of views and a lot of subscribers that just kept flowing in over time because they wanted to know how to cut their own hair. There wasn't anybody else doing it. But one of the things that I realize now after starting this new channel as well, because it was something I was actually weary about doing, but it's hard to wrap your head around, but you have to know going into it that it takes time to grow. Now, we all see these different people on YouTube that they have like overnight success in a way, or they get to 1 million followers in 6 months. Like there are those outliers, and that could be you. That could be, but by and large, it's going to take you time to grow. And when I say time to grow, I'm talking about years. I'm not talking about, if I put some hard work in a year, I'll have 100,000 subscribers. Probably not. And so you have to kind of level set yourself when it comes down to how fast you're going to grow. And you also have to ask yourself, do I want to actually grow that fast, right? Because there are a lot of things that you're going to learn along the way making these videos, as I talked about in the very beginning, because you're going to learn how to edit your own videos, how to film, how to get good audio, how to write a script. There's so many different skill sets that are really centered around YouTube, how to present well in front of a camera, how to speak properly and, not say and ah and all that. There's so many different things, right, that you're going to learn over time. But if your channel grows too quickly in a way that could hurt you as well, it's always great to grow really fast. But if you grow so fast and you don't know how to handle it or what to do next or how to capture your audience, how to, make an email list or how to, create a product or a course or whatever it might be and capitalize off of all of those views and people that are coming to your channel, then just think about how much of that effort you're putting in and think about how much you actually might be losing on the back end because you're just not prepared for it. It's kind of like when your business grows too quickly for you and you just can't keep up with the orders and then eventually you burn out. So it could be a situation like that, but just be patient and just know that overall it does take time to grow, but just know that that is also okay because you're going to be learning and growing along the way. Now, if you have a skill set already, if you've been doing video production and that's your career and you're really good at it, honestly, chances of your channel growing a lot faster than maybe somebody else's is going to be probably a little bit better because your videos are going to be more captivating. You're going to have those angles down. The lighting's going to be right. It's going to be different and intriguing, and it's going to be something that people want to watch. And you're already several steps ahead of just a regular beginner YouTuber. So if you are just a regular, beginner YouTuber, then obviously this is going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time to build on. But again, it's not a bad thing. You just have to be patient and know that this is a journey and not something that is going to be a sprint, right? And that kind of brings me to that, the main piece as well that I think that a lot of people get into YouTube for. And really, that is just that people get into YouTube thinking that they are going to just be an overnight success. They're just going to just start just making money and that's what they're in it for. Definitely don't start YouTube for that, right? Just know, again, it's going to take time. You have to have passion. You got to be consistent. If all those things are there, then I think you're going to be, successful long term. And with all these things that I'm talking about, it really kind of brings me to the last thing that I wish that I knew before starting YouTube. But it's basically that you have to be mindful not to feed into other people's negativities. And what I mean is mean comments, right? It's like there's always going to be someone who's going to try to troll you. There's always going to be somebody who's going to have something negative to say about your video, your presentation, your outfit, your hair, your room. They're going to tell you you're wrong. I mean, there's so many different things you can, kind of go down the list and imagine kind of the things that are going to happen. But just know, again, this is something that is just part of that journey. There are going to be people like that. But for every person that is negative and is going to leave you a mean, nasty little comment, there are going to be 10 other people that are going to have something positive and great to say and are going to be really appreciative and excited to watch your videos. So that's just something that you have to also keep in mind. And what that really kind of feeds into and what I'm really trying to say is that there is a certain level of like mental fortitude that you have to be successful long-term on YouTube, right? And so that goes in with the mean comments, but also some of the other things that you can kind of go down a rabbit hole on, right? Like if you make a video and you don't get a lot of views, you might lose sleep over that. You might be stressed out the next day because no one watched your video. Like, yeah, what's happening, right? Or it could be a situation where you had a really successful video and then your subsequent videos are just not getting views, right? Or for some reason, you just can't figure it out. And that can be draining mentally and maybe even emotionally on you, because now you can't figure out like what is going on. Like, I thought that people liked my videos, right? And you might go through your analytics and try to figure out what's happening, but sometimes there really just is not really a clear answer, right? And so that is something else. So I guess that last piece, and not necessarily mean comments, but just think about the mental fortitude that comes with being on YouTube. And that's something that, again, I think that I wish I knew getting into it as well, because it helps to kind of prepare you for it. But I will tell you, nothing prepares you for having to have mental fortitude than actually having to exercise it, right? Because you experience that, right? And so if you are, new to YouTube, you're probably going through that right now, but just know that that's not something that's going to ever go away. And you just have to be okay with that. And then, still move forward and make videos. So that is kind of just like I guess maybe like 7 things that I wish I knew before starting YouTube. If there are some other things that you are realizing along the way and you want to share those in the comments with other people, definitely leave a comment below this video. I definitely would love to hear it and see kind of like what your experience has been and what you have to share. If you're new here and you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this. I try to make videos every single week. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next video.